dance for joy or lust or anger in every time.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Classics, the series where we look at practical and sensible cars that are over 15 years old. You can buy
Low
for
battery.
between £1,000 and
Please
£5,000. This is a 1988 Ford Fiesta 1.1 Ghia with the 4-speed manual. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the Mark II Fiesta was launched in 1983. It's actually a very heavily facelifted version of the Mark I Fiesta. The engines available in a Mark II Fiesta were a 950cc engine with 44 horsepower, the old Valencia unit, then a 1.1 with 50 horsepower, like in this car. First of all, there was a very, very rare 1.3 with the Valencia unit, which developed, I think, 68 horsepower, but that was replaced in 1984 with a 1.3 CVH engine, which is out of the Mark III Escort. In 1986, there were some more changes made. The 1.3 was replaced by 1.4 with 74 horsepower. Top of the line, though, was a 1.6 XR2, also a CVH, first of all with 96 horsepower and then 95 horsepower after 1986. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. So the Mark II Fiesta wasn't quite as popular as Fiesta was in later years, but it was actually Britain's best-selling car for many, many years, shortly before it was discontinued in 2023. The Escort actually was more popular, and so was the Cortina, initially when the Mark I was available, and then the Sierra was also popular. One of these, though, were just everywhere. Like, the Ghia was a very nice model. In fact, my grandfather had one of these, a very late one, a 1989 car, one he had, with the CTX gearbox. This car doesn't really feel that fast. It's okay. It's a little bit noisy. I mean, I could do the optional 5-speed gearbox in this, really, but we'll take what we can get. It's funny, really, driving along in a car that's so small and so noisy. It's just not anything like a modern car, but that's fine. You know, the nostalgia for these 1980s Ford is very, very strong at the moment, and you know, going along in this with this sort of really interesting headline, which reminds me of 70s cars, and with this sort of nice Ghia fabric, it sort of evokes a very nostalgic kind of glow. And I'm sure many of you who are a certain age will just remember the days when these were absolutely everywhere. You know, 30 odd years ago, you would have seen tons of these around little estates like this, but see, they are now a very rare sight. We've got original wheel trims on this. I don't remember the name of this colour per se. It's like a sort of oxblood colour. But yeah, I think it looks very nice in this sort of gear trim. We've got a two-tone paint on this. Not much rust on this of any at all, actually. I think it's been welded at some point in its life, but it's only done 80,000 miles, so you know, it's not too bad. Pretty easy to get in the boot. We just have to use the key. In fact, that's the only way in. It's a 1.1. You get a 1.4 as well, of course. Don't leave the key in the boot, otherwise we're not getting back in the car. There we go, we can fit all sorts of things in here, can't we? The only thing we are missing on this car is the sort of bits to hold the parcel shelf up. I'm going to have to hold the tailgate as well, I think. Not the biggest boot, probably comparable with the Metro at the time, and the Metro actually was right up against these. It was one of the sort of main rivals to these in this country, along with the Nova or Corsa in some places. Just one little number plate light there. Different arrangement at the back of sort of rear lights and fog lights. I think you can actually swap the tailgates of the Mark I and the Mark II Fiesta over if you want to. And obviously this car came out in 1983 and the fog lights were compulsory in this country from 1981. So we've still got this sort of older type of fog light just separate on down there. You can tell obviously this car was really designed in the 70s because of that. Just a little sort of pea shooter exhaust type thing, correct wheel trims, and these little things on the side of here which are to protect the car and the car park obviously from dents and things. So bodywork actually is pretty straight. It's amazing how little these cars are now. And then the Ghia front bumper with this little indentation to the front of here, little bits of sort of chrome in them. It would look better with the fog lights on it. I'm sure you can get that if you wanted to. I think that was an option on the Ghias. It was standard on the XR2 from memory. But yeah, you know, it's just a huge nostalgia hit to see a car like this and to drive a car like this. Absolutely extraordinary, really. So we'll just get inside once this car's gone past, or van's gone past. Dashes are not perhaps the most robust things in these. One thing you'll notice on here is actually the switch here is a little bit broken. I don't know what's going on with that, really. The rev counter doesn't seem to work either, which is apparently a common thing. I'll just shut this door. So we've got a high-spec dash in this. There was a low-spec dash on a Mark II as well, which actually had the controls, heating and ventilation on the end, and the dash kind of stopped about here. I don't know if you've ever seen like a Popular or something like that, but they stop about here. Whereas this is what this high-spec dash. We've got a rev counter, we've got 2 vents and everything like that, and the full kind of large controls for the heating and ventilation. Cigarette lighter, of course, and an ashtray. And then this aftermarket stereo. The glove box is really weird. It's this little thing here. I wonder if I get my secret mission doctor in there. It's a very basic kind of dash. You can see this big cutout here. On some of them would have said Fiesta on there, or maybe Ghia, but on this later car, it doesn't say anything. We've got the pop-up sunroof, luxurious, and then a little clock here, 5:54 p.m. And then this little fader control here for the stereo, which is very typical of the Fords of the time. Also typical of the Fords is this thing on the top there, which I love. And then we've got a choke lever down there as well. And then, like on, I don't know, a Mark II Granada or something like that, which is actually in production when these Mark IIIs came out in 1983. We've got a light control here, and then the wipers there, and then the horns on the end of here, which I'm not going to touch because we're in a built-up area and I don't need to scare the neighbours. And then we've got the fog lamps on there, and that's actually for the rear wiper just there. What you can tell actually that this car wasn't really designed to have the rear wiper on most of the models, because well, you would have put it on the end of there, but we haven't got that, so it's separately on here. And we've got internally adjustable mirrors, which might seem absolutely ridiculous, just be excited about a car from 1989 with internally adjustable mirrors, but that was not a given at the time. A lot of cars didn't have them. The door pockets in this car are absolutely huge. Look at all this. You can fit all sorts of things in here if you want to. Which is good. There's a little tray down here for little oddments. I can't remember if the L's have these or not. And you can see just here where if you wanted electric windows, which I think were a dealer option or something like that, then they were down there. Well, I don't think I've seen a Ghia with those, to be honest. I don't think I've seen any Mark II Fiesta with them. They were a very rare option. It's been expensive. But yeah, there's not really much in here. I haven't got too much in the way of painted metal though, which is a surprise actually. We thought we got a lot more of that in a car like this, but maybe it's a Ghia, and so you get these big sort of full width door cars, and so you don't have to suffer too much indignity of bare metal. We'll have a look inside the back. Make sure we can shut this door as well whilst we're here. Okay, viewers. Right, that's safe, isn't it? Okay, so it's actually not that bad in here. I thought it would be a lot worse. My memories of travelling in the back of a Mark II Fiesta aren't the most spacious car, but it's okay. Put my knees on there. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's okay. You can see just the sort of older design of this, where we've got the seatbelt buckles kind of attached to the floor like that, but they're not hidden or anything. The handbrake's just sort of naked. There's no centre console in this car or anything. We have got these grab handles though, which are sort of typical, you know, older Ford really, which is good. No high adjustable seat belts in here. Don't need that sort of thing, do we? And then we've got a folding rear seat that actually splits in this car. You can see the controls on here, which is something that I don't think we're going to touch today. We'll just leave those, I think. What a disc lock as well. I remember those from back in the day. What a superb little car. Yeah. Right. There's not really much to talk about in terms of the dash. It's pretty simple. So what we'll do is have a look under the bonnet and have a look at the 1.1 Valencia engine. Now, when was the last time you saw an engine bay kind of like this? So, forward opening bonnet like on a Mark 1. Just 50 horsepower from this 1.1 Valencia engine. Kind of looks a bit like a Jaguar XJS in terms of the way the bonnet opens. That's probably the last time everyone will ever hear a comparison between a Mark II Fiesta and an XJS. But very simple, we're on a carburettor with a choke. There's no fuel injection or anything in here. I don't think there was fuel injection on pretty much any Mark II. Some of them came with cats. This one hasn't got one because you didn't need those in this country for, well, quite a few years after the end of Mark II production in 1989. You can see the gearbox very, very clearly here. You see a lot of the floor as well. So not very difficult to work on. It's probably one of the reasons why Ford elected in 1983 to not just kind of launch an all-new car, but just keep going with the Mark 1 design, because they invested a lot of money into it and it sold well, and it was actually you know, very easy to service. It's not a really a problem. And so there you go, overhead valve unit, a little bit tappety on this particular example, but you can get them to be quite quiet. Chain driven, really not an awful lot to go wrong in comparison to a modern car, and of course the underbonnet accessibility is very, very good. Right, I'll have to wiggle this catch a bit because there could be a bit of a pain, these, and then we'll shut that and we'll go for another drive, shall we? When my grandfather had his Mark II Fiesta Ghia, it was actually the last car he ever owned. He bought it in 1989 and he died the following year, so the car only ever did 1,000 miles, so didn't see much of it when I was younger. A few years ago I drove a 1.1L with a CTX gearbox, also from 1988, like this car, and actually it wasn't too bad. I thought it would be incredibly strange. Now, unfortunately, in this car the rev count doesn't actually work, so I don't know what RPM we're doing in fourth gear at 45 miles an hour, but it's not too bad. The car's not got power steering. In fact, there were no Mark II Fiestas with power steering. There were no Mark II Fiestas with 5 doors. You could get electric windows in a Ghia, but you'd have to get something dealer option pack for that. So it's not even that luxurious. In comparison with a Metro Vanden Plas of the same era, you get a leather interior and electric windows and things like that, and some wood. We don't have anything like that. But nevertheless, the Ghia's a very nice spec, and this car would look even better, in my opinion, with the optional driving lights on the front, like on an XR2, which of course you could get. But it's actually fairly pleasant. The brakes seem a little bit better than the Mark 1 Ghia that I drove last year, which is obviously reassuring, because the Mark 1 Ghia brakes were not good. Probably were okay for the time, but these seem a bit better. And actually, it seems a little bit quieter in here than one of those. The gearbox seems a bit different. This one's a little bit worn, so it can be hard to find gears. Bad joke. But yeah, the steering seems positive enough. I mean, I can see why this is a very good basis. If you had more power, because we've only got 50 horsepower in this, but if you had 96 horsepower, like in an XR2, you'd be quite happy. So, trim levels available for one of these were Popular Plus. I think that might have been a base Fiesta at one point. The L, GL, Ghia, the S model, and the XR2. And then about 1 million specials like the bonus and all sort of things, the Firefly. On these cars, the main thing to watch is rust. And of course, on a CVH engine, you do the cam belt. The CVH engines also will sludge up with oil, which isn't very nice. Remember the old Escort XR3Is of the day used to do that too. The automatic model came in 1987, which is the CTX or CVT, is a steel belt Van Dorn transmission, which we looked at in 2021. These cars don't weigh very much. They weigh under 100 kilos, which is pretty crazy, really, considering the weight of modern cars. It probably double that at least most of the time. So viewers, should you consider a Ford Fiesta Mark II for your hard-earned budget between £1,000 and £5,000? Well, I don't see why not. If you can find one that the gearbox isn't a bit floppy like in this one, that isn't rusty and it's been looked after, then, it might make a little fun car to run around into shows. They're not very common anymore particularly. They made a lot of them and there's not many left. So, tribute to the old Fiesta, the way things were doing, I think this is a very fitting one.
Anyway, thank you ever so much once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, and we shall see you again very soon for some more reasonably priced nostalgic motoring.